question from Franco Renata, and his question is about teenagers in powerlifting. Can joints and spine handle the torture of massive weights? Which presupposes a teenager would use massive weights.
How do I answer that? I mean, I started as a teenager. So I started actually when I was 12. I competed when I was 13. Now I'm 44. My joints are trash. So, and I don't know if I would be the what do they call that? The example or the exception. For the most part, my general stance on this is, he said joints and tendons.
Joints and spine.
Okay. For the most part, your joints are only going to be able to handle so much, and a lot of that's going to be predisposed to joint bone structure and genetics. As I wrote in my one article, I think I've done over, I forget what it was, 6,000 squats or 6,000 workouts, I think it was, and over 1 million loaded repetitions throughout my days. That's going to have an effect. It's definitely going to have an effect. But at the same time, if all your muscles are firing correctly and your technique is correct, I don't see why you can't continue to lift heavy all the way until you're 80 and be healthy. I made a lot of bad decisions, training through and training around injuries that I probably shouldn't have done. I'm sure there were a lot of times that a lot of my stabilizers were completely fried, so there was more stress being put on my joints than what should have been. A skeleton can't handle anything. If I took a human skeleton and put it right here and loaded a broomstick on it, it's going to fall. It can't even stand by itself. It needs a steel pole just to stand up. Okay, so bones can't handle any weight. You see what I'm saying? The muscles and the tendons and the ligaments are what keep the spine and the bones in place. So that's where the load should be going. If the load is going into the joints and improperly, well then that's where there's some activation problems and some other things that are going on. So now when you're dealing with teenagers, where I'm really hesitant with that is young kids and teenagers all develop differently. They all mature differently. You can show me a 13-year-old who's going to look like he's 19 years old, and his bone structure is going to be suited like he's big bone and can handle it. You can show me another one that looks like he's still in the 5th grade. So it's really individual and it really depends. I think for the most part, the younger lifters need to, they really need to focus on their technique, man. I mean, YouTube is disgusting to watch sometimes. It's a younger lifter should, their goal, if they want to be a power lifter or if they want to be an athlete, football player or whatever it is, and if they want to go to the next level, say they're in junior high and then they're playing high school, their goal should be able to go into the high school weight room and make the coach's job easier. Let the coach make them strong, not spend all their time developing technique. If they're a high school athlete and they want to go on to college, that should be their goal, is to go into the college weight room so the coach doesn't sit there and say, we have to spend the first 2 years just teaching them how to do the lift, and then the next 2 years teaching them how to be strong. Now, if they learned how to do the lift in high school, now when they get to that next level, they can start getting stronger immediately. And it's at that next level where you're starting to deal with more qualified people that know how to get them strong. From a powerlifting perspective, it doesn't really matter what I'm going to say one way or another to any kid, especially a teenager. If they're convinced they're going to do a meet, they're going to do a meet. There's no way about that. But I think that technique is the most vital and most important thing. It's going to have the greatest longevity in their sport, because if you train for years with poor technique, yeah, you're going to have